Big Z Reviews. The Prodigy is another early winter horror film that kind of released without much fanfare, and I wasn't expecting a lot, but I checked it out on the Thursday night showing because I love seeing horror movies like that, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't have high expectations for it, but it kind of blew the low expectations away.
Mommy, what's wrong with me?
Miles is having a very difficult time making friends. I want you to tell me everything that you remember.
I don't remember anything.
Miles's brain is extremely well developed. He may need a specialist.
So The Prodigy was directed by Nicholas McCarthy, and it mainly stars Taylor Schilling as the mom and Jackson Robert Scott as the kid. And there's also a dad, but he's really not too important for the film. You know, he wasn't even in any of the trailers. Like when the movie started, then like I expected him to die somehow, like really early on, like from a car accident or something. She had to raise him by herself, and like no, well, the guy's still there. That's kind of funny. The setup for the film is that there's this kid that may or may not be evil, or is he a genius with some problems, some mental problems, and that they have to take him to special school, or is he evil? And they play with that pretty well. But I love a good creepy kid story, a creepy kid movie, and it really relies on the kid that's playing the creepy kid. And for this one, Jackson Robert Scott is excellent. He plays the evil creepiness incredibly well. But then at the same time, when they need him to be vulnerable and scared, and like you feel for him, but it feels real. Like he plays both angles of that really well. And I also like the mom a lot, Taylor Schilling. She has to play a thing where she absolutely loves her son, but he may be evil. And you have to figure out, can she save his soul, or what's she gonna have to do to to fight this evil thing that's within him. And right at the beginning, I enjoyed the scene a lot. Like the cold opening is like this dichotomy they play. There's like mirror images of each other where they have the mother giving birth, and they have this serial killer whose last victim escapes and brings the cops back to his lair, and you see the birth of the child and the death of the man. And like in the beginning, and you know that it's like they're almost like mirror images of each other, and you know that serial killer is going to be reincarnated or trying to possess the body of this little kid. And I really like this scene. It's crafted really well, but at the same time, I almost wouldn't have minded not having it, because then for the first parts of the movie, you wouldn't be sure if the kid actually is evil. But because you saw that scene, you know that the kid's evil right away. And being a horror movie released in 2019, there are some jump scares, but there aren't any real fake jump scares. There's nothing like fake going, wah! But the jump scares that they do use can be a little goofy. Mainly because they have this thing where it's like the guy, the serial killer, pops out instead of the kid. And it's never really clear, never really explained, like whether it's the mom just imagining things, or one time there's a dream that happens, that the scene is in the trailer. And then other times, like, especially there's one scene that is pretty goofy. Like, it's only on the screen for like a second, but like the kid turns around, and there's the serial killer's head. Like they put it on the little kid's body, and it's only for a second, but it's like that looked a little odd. Like it's not scary but goofy, but at the same time, most of them relatively worked. And definitely the best scenes though, whenever the kid's being creepy and evil, and I almost wish that there was more of that. Like the scenes were so effective. I would have loved to have more scenes with this kid being super evil and like either killing people or like beating up kids or doing weird things. like some of the stuff they do is like that. I loved all these scenes where this kid is really creepy. Well, I would have loved even more of it. And then one thing I will say that like the setup for how this whole thing is working is, you know, they go into a psychologist, and then the psychologist says, you know, I know this reincarnation expert. Let me get you involved with him. And some of that stuff is a little bit of a stretch. But at the same time, those scenes with him, like the reincarnation expert, like hypnotizes the kid to try to talk to the evil soul that's possessing him and to figure out what he wants. And I really liked that scene. But, you know, that means because of that, I almost want to have more of, like, obvious times of the guy talking through the kid. And, like, related to that, like, they set up things for the climax of the film. And, like, the leap of logic that the mother has to make for the film is just a little far-fetched. Like, I needed another extra scene or two here, like giving her more reasoning for why she thinks her plan might work. Like I'm not gonna spoil it, but I really wish there was another scene or two before the end. Like either her calling up the psychologist and talking to him, seeing if he thinks this might actually work, or maybe her talking to the evil spirit within her kid and trying to make a deal with him or something. I think that would have been really effective and creepy if there's more, but like she never really had the chance to talk to the guy. I mean, there's some stuff there, but I would have liked some scene where she almost tried to barter with the evil guy in her son. I would have loved something like that. But at the same time, I loved a lot of this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love a good creepy kid film, and this offers that creepiness. I really liked the kid. Like he was so good at being creepy and so good at being kind of like you felt for him, you liked him at other times. And you know, it's funny. The kid and the serial killer, they both have heterochromia, and there's like one eye is like blue, one eye is hazel, and there's some creepy scenes with that. Well, it's funny because I watched a movie with my brother who also has heterochromia. Although it's not as startling because he doesn't have one blue eye, it's like one brown eye and one hazel. But we were joking after the end that, you know, I don't know if I can look at you in the eyes anymore. And he repeated this one scene from the movie. It's kind of funny. But I would definitely recommend this for horror fans. Like, they didn't do much advertising for it, but I hope it does relatively well. I mean, it deserves it. I enjoyed it. Like, it was filmed really well. You know, the movie didn't do anything surprising or, like, I expected things that were going to happen did happen. But at the same time, I thoroughly enjoyed, like, every moment of it. I relatively loved it, you know, for what it is. Yeah, I'd probably give, like, an 8 out of 10. It's nothing fantastic, but it's a really good creepy kid horror film. But thanks for watching, and you got the video play from my head and subscribe to me in that video over there. Thanks. This has been a Big Z movie review. Thanks for watching.